You guys want to see something crazy? Today is my
111th birthday!
No, I'm not that old, but it certainly feels that way. I have hit the 30-year mark. I am now 30 years old. So the last time I dropped a video on this series, it was actually on my birthday. I didn't even process this when I was doing this. It was on my birthday and I had just turned 30 years old, and that was like the little gimmick that I used. That's crazy. This is long overdue.
Prepare yourself, 10 Saiyan.
Smash that like button, and if you're new to the channel, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. That way you never miss a video. If you are not caught up to this series, I am going to have a playlist. There are only 2 other videos, but I'm going to have a playlist in the description below. Go ahead and check it out. The Celestial Saiyans. This is a original fan fiction, Dragon Ball fan fiction story by the notorious Lord Slider on Twitter. Make sure you go ahead and follow him there for more updates and also to see a lot of the kick-ass art he has for this Dragon Ball fan fiction story. But a small recap, we got the origin of the Celestials, of which a few of them are the Super Saiyan 4 of legend. This is a tremendous story that takes place in the time way before the Omni King, when the Celestial Saiyans ruled and their father turned against them and slaughtered all of them, leaving only 2, as far as they know, alive. And a traveler comes to see them and wants to be trained by them, wants to be in their grace, and that is where we left off in the story, guys. So let's go ahead and jump right in to this epic tale. And if you'd like to see a sneak peek to what I have in store for you guys tomorrow, stay till the end of the video. The steps of the 2 celestial gods echoed through the dim and silent halls of Slider's castle, only matched by the sound of the torches burning on the walls, keeping the path in front of them barely lit. As they move along, Slider looks to Cypher and asks, "What do you think of this so-called real? Can we trust him?" Cypher then looks back to Slider and answers, "Trust is not something we will easily be able to get anytime soon, if ever at all." Their journey through the halls ends as they enter a large circular hall, which includes a table with 2 thrones facing each other. The 2 young gods sit down on each of their respective thrones, one infused with blue, the color of Cypher, and one with red for Slider. Slider rests his head on his fist as he looks at Cypher. His brother eases firmly into the throne with his arms on the armrest as he asks Slider, "Do you really think we're the 2 last Celestials alive?" As to which Slider responds, "There were 20 of us, and now there are only 2. He took a pause from speaking, looking up to the roof above him as he lets out a slight sigh. "There must be more." He looked back at Cypher as he nodded. "Yes, indeed, we're on the same wavelength about this. There must still be hope. There has to be." The young speedster looks frustrated as he rests his head in the palm of his hand. Slider suddenly gets a burst of energy as he asks his brother, "When you felt my energy, did you feel anything else? And how did you sense my energy?" Cypher looks back up at Slider as he answers, "I sensed hope, but the way I found it was through looking within my own celestiality, that which gives us our individual powers, and within my mind. I got sent to some sort of dark room. Within this room, I saw your flame of strength and hope." Slider immediately stands up as he exclaims, "I feel then I have an idea." With this, the Crimson Celestial storms out of the hall and eventually outside. The bright sun of Exodius immediately hits Slider and his eyes slightly squint in response. As he adjusts, he goes to a nearby lake that the 2 Celestials call the Lake of Life. Arriving at the lake, he walks on the water until he's in the middle of it. When he's there, he starts floating while entering a meditative position. Cypher is not far behind, making his way to the shore From there, he looks to his brother, meditating over the water as he weakly says, "I hope this plan of yours works, brother." Cypher then notices Real, not that far away from them, walking towards him. As Real arrives, he asks Cypher, "What is Slider doing on the lake?" Cypher then looks to Slider as he says, "He is looking for hope, like I once did." Real shifts his focus to Slider, meditating over the lake as he asks, "Hope? In what way?" Cypher continues to look at his brother and responds. Basically, he's looking for other Celestials, or more specifically their presence, to see if any are still alive out there. A moment of silence went by before Cypher noticed the shocked expression upon Real's face. "What's the matter, young mortal?" Cypher asked as he leaned his head slightly to the side. Real quickly asked, "Are there more Celestials out there than you two?" It was clear that the mortal didn't know what to make of this. Could there be more creatures like his two masters out there? Cypher responded with, "There was once 20 of us. We're hoping that me and Slider are not the only two left." The Celestial told him, releasing a slight sigh as he looked up into the magenta sky of Exodius, before adding on, "And for the very same hope, I wanted to be Strawbirder." Real wondered who this Strawbirder was, for he only knew the two Celestials who stood before him. He dared not ask who the Celestial was out of the respect, for he did not want to upset his masters as they were clearly distraught. He bowed to his master before turning around and heading out to train. He flew for some time, thinking about all of what had transpired. How did I get here? I knew I went for the artifact, but I didn't think it would lead me to them. They are Celestials, gods, he thought, looking for the place to land and train. He descended slowly while continuing to think. Will I meet their expectations? And who is this Strawbirder? Their hope? Does this mean he is able to stand up against a man who should not be named? He got down and went into his fighting pose. An orange aura formed around him as objects started flying towards him at full speed. He dodged and evaded those he could, destroying those he could not. As the intensity rose, he started getting hit more and more as his thoughts continued. What is the power of their father really like? I hope we don't meet him. I don't want to see these gods die in vain. I want to help them make His training thought was cut off as a large rock collided with him, sending him flying back on the ground, rubbing his head in pain. Damn it. Back at the lake, Slider floated above the water. His mind had entered into nothing, complete and utter darkness, but yet something was there. He had to find out. The water beneath him started making small waves from his mind, and sometime he started syncing his own energy with the waves, allowing him to send out a signal, so he hoped. In the darkness, he felt cold and alone, desperately looking for hope to replicate what his brother did to find him. While all of this was going on, Cypher had sped himself up to such an extent that time almost stood still for him. He thought about different possibilities, different solutions, but it all ended up with the same answer: Strawbirder. He stood in a state of time for what he could interpret as years, but for Slider and everyone else it was a matter of mere seconds before he burst out of his focus. Slide. He was stopped by a hand pointed toward him to signal silence. The waves slowly started increasing intensity, showing that he was struggling. The waves continued becoming more and more fierce, something which worried Cypher, but he kept his faith. Suddenly, everything went quiet and Slider was gone. Cypher had no time to react, for by his side stood an out-of-breath Celestial covered in red fur. Slider looked at his brother and said, "I found someone," while breathing heavily. A chill went down Cypher's spine as he heard those words. A million thoughts raced through his mind, faster than even he could fathom. Slider quickly added on, "I found our biggest hope, the Celestial who can stand against our creator." As Slider looked up with a prideful and fierce glare, "Indeed, brother, we found Celeste." And that is the end of today's story, guys. Thank you so much for everything. Make sure you check out the Twitter account of Lord Slider. That way you guys can go ahead and keep up to date to this story. Whenever the next chapter comes out, I'll go ahead and cover it. And if you made it to this point in the video, you're now part of the hashtag End of Video Squad. Thank you guys so much for all your support. Make sure to drop that comment with that hashtag for a chance to be featured in my next video. Today, I'm going to be responding to Christopher Davis. I literally just be watching all videos for this story today, and I think it's been my favorite one you've covered on this channel. Goku Black is definitely my favorite villain from DBS, and it's cool what if scenario to keep him around longer to explore his character some more. Yes, this Dragon Ball fan manga, Dragon Ball Super Epiphany, is by far the most in-depth Goku Black Dragon Ball fan manga that I've ever covered, because it goes into so many facets of a character that ended up being very mustache twirling by the end of the Goku Black arc, and it makes him a lot better in my opinion. Thank you so much for your comment. This is going to be Blackscape signing off. Take care, guys.
Subscribe for more content. Or perish.